So before we jump into this, I don't want to hear anything about these dash lights because I know someone's going to say something about it. My car actually identifies as a Volkswagen, so what is going on, guys? So today we'll be talking about the top 5 beater cars you can get for under $5,000. I wish I could say it was the beater cars under $1,000, but as you well know, the car market's a little bit funky right now. Some of these I'll be speaking about from personal experience, and some of them I'll be speaking about from first-hand experience, as far as my friends owning them, family owning them, and so on and so forth. Number 1 on my list.
Hey, that's Ford Ranger. Ford Ranger. Fucking Ford Ranger. Fucking Ford Ranger.
These trucks are absolutely bulletproof. My dad actually owned one at one point. It was a 6-cylinder automatic. Never really had any crazy problems that I recall. I'm mainly speaking about the 1990s to 2010-ish Ford Ranger. After 2010, they became not so great, compared to the old ones at least. The Ford Ranger came in 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive. It came with a 4-cylinder with 4-wheel drive, a 4-cylinder with 2-wheel drive. Came with a 6-cylinder with 4-wheel drive and a 6-cylinder with 2-wheel drive. It came with every option you could ask for. So if you wanted a 4-cylinder to save on gas, you wouldn't really be sacrificing the reliability. You're going to be sacrificing the power, but it's a little work truck. I mean, you're not going to be doing drag races with this thing. You might be doing some burnouts with it. I'm not sure why, but those things absolutely love burnouts, especially clutch dumps. My buddy Garrett had a 6-cylinder version, and I know that thing took burnouts all the time. And my buddy Robert at the time actually had a 4-cylinder version, and that thing still blew the tires off. I actually might have a video of that one from back in the day. Overall, they're solid trucks. That's why you see them on the road all the time. This next one is mostly for a tuner beater car. Any 1.8T by Volkswagen. The Mark IV generation was great. The 2.0 started getting a little bit iffy as far as I know. I actually had a B5 Passat with a 20-valve 1.8 turbo, and that thing ripped. It wasn't the fastest thing in the world, but it was turnkey every time. Never let me down. Had a Ford splitter valve. Just basic bolt-on stuff. Still made well under 300 horsepower. They're fun as hell to drive. And if you've ever driven one or you've ever been in one, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Especially if you run 2-step. The 2-step's just hilarious. And more recently, I had a Mark IV Jetta, and if you've been following the channel, you know that I traded that for my E36, which I don't really regret.
I like you, man. You lie a lot.
If I had the chance to keep the Jetta, I definitely would have. That thing had 220,000 miles on it, on the original engine. It was lowered, full bolt-on, 2-step. The thing was honestly a riot. Shot 3-foot flames.
Go.
And next up, I'm gonna have to say, any Toyota Camry or Corolla. Those cars honestly are one of the few that speak for themselves. As far as I know, the 6-cylinder versions are just as reliable as the 4-cylinder versions. And my grandmother actually had a Corolla before she passed away, and that car is still alive. It's got 230,000 plus miles on it and gets driven every single day and never has problems. I'm convinced those cars are actually bulletproof. Extremely reliable. That's what they're known for. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that sticks out as far as making those cars unreliable. So you really can't go wrong with those. All right, and next up, I'm just going to throw these two cars on the same place in the list because they're basically the same things. So the Mercury Grand Marquis and the Ford Crown Victoria, aka Crown Vic. So what is the difference between these two cars? Basically, the Mercury version has more leather and more chrome. That's pretty much it. They both came with the 4.6 liter V8s, which are actually extremely reliable, even though it's a Ford product.
More power, man.
So the Grand Marquis, if you want more comfort, then that's a better option. But overall, you're better off finding a Crown Vic that might have been formerly owned by a police officer, especially the P71 versions. Those things have been miraculously maintained, as far as I know, just looking into it briefly. They're owned by a town or they're owned by the police. Obviously, they need to be running in tip-top shape. And the cool thing is, if you could find a Crown Vic that used to be a cab or something, 9 times out of 10, they're not putting any abusive miles on the car, generally speaking. A plus side for the Grand Marquis, 9 times out of 10 when you see somebody getting out of a Grand Marquis in public, they're probably over the age 85. Let's just be real. I'm not trying to be an ass. I'm just saying. So what does that tell you? They probably took care of it. They probably take it to the dealership, and they're probably not beating on it. Unless we got somebody's grandfather out here just blowing donuts on a Grand Marquis. Hey, maybe that's happening. But generally speaking, oh, look at that. Those new sleeper F-150s are crazy. Goddamn! And last but not least, got to go with all reliable. If you're not familiar with this is my 2004 Accord that I've been dailying for the past 3 years, and this thing's an absolute tank. The parts are dirt cheap. Can't go wrong with an Accord. You really can't. Hondas are kind of known for the reliability as well as Toyotas, and there's a reason for that. They're all very easy to work on. Parts are cheap, and you can find them just about anywhere. So yeah, if you want a little bit more details, just check the video that I have linked in this one. And yeah, it's about my Accord and my personal experience with it. I just don't want to bore you guys. It's really not that interesting. It's just a reliable ass car that I'm very happy with. And as always, I appreciate you guys more than you know, especially if you made it this far in this boring video about me yapping about daily drivers. I really appreciate it. I'm going to be doing a lot more car content as far as interesting stuff goes, but I've had some requests about this type of video, so I figured I'd throw it up here. If you got any comments, or if you just want to share your experience about your daily drivers, feel free to drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. I appreciate you.